lives one day at a time. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. They're here to get your day going fine. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. And here's your host, Miss Kim Robinson.
Well, thank you for joining the Next Level with Trenace show. I am so happy that you are spending 60 minutes, give or take, of your 1,440 minutes of your Saturday with me, today, our very special guest is authoress, speaker, author, screenwriter, Monique Howell. Thank you for joining us, Monique.
Thank you for having me.
Well, there is so much that we could talk about from our brief Chop It Up festival the other day up until today. So, but just share a little bit about yourself with our guests, with our listeners.
Well, I'm a military brat. I've traveled all across the world. My dad retired U.S. Army, so I have never stayed in one state, longer than probably about 2 to 3 years. I came back here to South Carolina, and this is where I actually graduated high school from. And I, too, decided to go into the U.S. Army as well, and that's where I pursued my career was the Army. And then I came home, got out the service in 2007, and now I am a single parent of 5 teenagers. I travel. I'm a motivational speaker. I wrote my first book, A Silver Lining, and I also produced my first short film in 2018. I apologize. My first book is called Living Inside My Skin of Silence, and my first short film is called A Silver Lining. So I do a lot of things now, and I'm just glad to be able to be that voice to travel and let everyone know, how I am still standing.
Okay, great. I didn't know all of that about you, but I did know you were a part of the Army. So let's talk about you. What's your process of what happened? Because when I heard of you, I was very surprised about, and I used to live right there in Charleston, South Carolina. So could you share with our listeners about your time, I would guess, I don't even know what to call it, but your time that you had to go through one of those unshakable moments during your time in the military?
While I was serving in the military, I was so excited because I wanted to be like my dad, who also was in the military. I went in the military. I was able to, get stationed in different states and just enjoy my time being there. Only to find out with my third pregnancy, I also got the scariest news of my life at the time when I thought it was scary, that I was diagnosed with HIV.
All right. So, for me, HIV is a pandemic. So we're going to put a pin in that. That's going to be always in our forefront because we're in a pandemic right now. But HIV is still a pandemic. It's worldwide. It's not citywide, statewide, nationwide. It is worldwide. So could you share that process of going through HIV and what happened from there?
Yes.
Because I want to get to the criminalization.
Right. When I was diagnosed with HIV, I thought I was dreaming. I honestly thought I was in this dark cloud, just waiting to wake up until I faced reality and realized, the test results was positive. The military also did their own testing, which also came back positive. The initial shock was I was scared. I was in denial. I was afraid because I was not educated and I didn't know too much about HIV at the time until it happened to me. The process of me just accepting my diagnosis, it took a couple of years. I was in and out of the psychiatric ward because I just wanted to give up on life. Because of stigma and the stupidity that surrounds HIV and AIDS, I thought that I was going to face a lot of that. So I just wanted to just stay in a dark, closed space. I didn't even want to face reality or the fact that I was living with HIV. In the military, it was hard. It was very, very hard dealing with the diagnosis, even understanding it, even worrying about if my unborn child would have had the virus. Thank God, my son was tested when he was 2 years old that he is HIV negative. He is now 14 years old. So I'm grateful for that. However, I had to continue to fight my battle with HIV. I had to continue to live for the sake of my children. While serving in the military, a year and a half after my diagnosis, I didn't even know about disclosure. I didn't know what disclosure was even about with concerning HIV until an incident happened with me where I was fearful of disclosure. I was so afraid of rejection. I was so afraid what can happen if the next person, want to get to know me, start liking me. Another soldier ended up liking me. I was afraid to disclose my status. To make the long story short, I had unprotected sex with this individual, and I was put on trial. If convicted, I was looking at 8 to 12 years. Thank God I did not transmit the virus to this soldier, and my charges was dropped. So now I use all of my experiences to talk about HIV criminalization. I talk about the importance of disclosure. I talk about the importance of not being afraid of who we are, those who are living with HIV and AIDS. Because I was not, nobody came to me when I first was diagnosed and told me, Monique, this is what you're supposed to do when someone come up to you and they start liking you and they want to get in a relationship with you. Monique, these are the laws that you need to know about when you don't disclose to the next person. I didn't know any of this. So when it happened to me, I took everything that I thought was negative in my life and I turned it around, and now I am using it for something positive.
So all of that you turned around to use for something positive. I would guess that definitely made you not only an advocate for those living with HIV, but those women that were living with HIV, because you were a married woman and serving in the military and pregnant. So it wasn't like people assumed that you were a drug addict or you were a lady of the night. You were a happily married woman raising children when this occurred.
Yes, and I love to tell people that, HIV and AIDS, no one is exempt. You don't have to have a particular lifestyle or be doing something, a certain lifestyle to contract HIV. Yes, I was married at the time of my diagnosis, so I tell people, it does not matter what color you are, what age, where you're from. There is no particular category of people that are diagnosed with HIV. Yes, the percent rate, in different categories are different, but nobody's exempt.
So, you based on this, you have a family, you have a thriving life, livelihood. You speak to people, but this wasn't. First of all, HIV was thrust upon you, and the changes that you had to deal with were thrusted upon you. What was the turning point for you to say, you know what, I'm going to change the game. I need to change my mindset. I am powerful, and I can definitely make a difference in the world.
The turning point for me was a couple of years after my diagnosis, after the charges was dropped out, when I was in the military. I got out the military. I started getting myself together. I was still, the healing process of all of that. I was still frustrated. I was in and out of the psychiatric ward, and I got tired. There was one time in my life where I just got tired of all of, the frustration and being depressed. I remembered I had my boys, and I realized that I have to continue to live for my boys. And I looked in the mirror one day and I said, you know what, Monique? You have HIV, but HIV doesn't have you. You're able to control the situation. And I began to love myself, and that was the turning point for me, is once I began to love myself a couple of years after my diagnosis, because I realized I wasn't loving who I was. You know, I realized I was dwelling on everything that was going on with me, that I couldn't move forward with my life. So when I began to love myself again, and I started beginning to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to beat this. And once I begin to love myself, that's when the turning point starts.
So not look a particular way. It can look like me. It can look like you. It can look like a man. It can look like a woman. It can look like a boy. So I would definitely say there is a need to dispel the myth of what HIV looks like. You don't look
Most
sick.
definitely.
Is that something that you heard a lot of when people started finding out that you were HIV positive?
Right. I know when I came public at my dad's church. I literally stopped his service, and that's where I came public at. I told, after I got myself together, I stopped my dad's church, and my dad is a pastor, and I stopped his whole service that morning, and I told everyone. I shared my testimonial, and from there, I was so worried. I was like, oh, my gosh, I wonder what people are going to think now. After I shared my story in the church, I have been speaking, traveling, and that's the first thing people will say. You don't look like you have HIV. And I like to tell people HIV does not have a look. So I do get a lot of people misunderstand or they'll define me, and that's the first thing they'll say. You don't look like it. You don't look sick. And I tell people that's why the education piece around HIV and AIDS is so important, because you have to educate yourself and you have to, get the knowledge that you need so people can know and break the stigma around HIV and AIDS, because people think you have to look a certain way or you have to look sickly.
That's true. I've heard that a lot. But, because I am aware that you don't look any type of way when you have HIV. You don't really look any type of way when you have AIDS either. But HIV and AIDS are not, and I would say are not, are the same disease. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the last part.
HIV and AIDS are not the same disease. Capital N-O-T, not the same disease. They are different.
Right. I love to tell people when a person is diagnosed with HIV, they can still live a long and healthy life with just HIV. HIV, progress into AIDS, but a person who's been diagnosed with HIV may never progress into AIDS. So I love to tell people, just because a person's HIV positive, that doesn't mean they have full blown AIDS.
Right. So, could you explain? Because I know that there are medications. This medication, when it first came known to everybody, it was with Magic Johnson, and he had been living with HIV forever back in the day when he was playing basketball. And I think maybe 10 years ago may have been when I heard about, he was maybe a little bit more than 10 years ago, he was undetectable. He still had it, but it was undetectable. What does that actually mean?
Undetectable, U equals you, meaning undetectable equals untransmittable. A person who's at an undetectable status, the transmission rate is literally 0 to none. Now, I always tell people, yes, by all means, a person who's undetectable can still transmit that virus, but it is so low. So it's a campaign going on around called U equals you, which means undetectable equals untransmittable. I myself am undetectable as well. I've been undetectable for over 8 years, and I take one pill. It's called Trenace. It's actually 3 medicines into one pill. I take that, and I take it every day like I'm supposed to, which is the reason why I'm at an undetectable viral load. And then everybody who is positive, everybody's body immune system is different. I may be undetectable, but the next person, their counts may be fluctuated, may be up in the air, may be low, but that person can get into a undetectable state once on treatment.
So when you go out to speak, do you get education? Do you get? Well, I would like to be able to sit in on because I think that would be an experience. Because I think you're pretty dope. I do.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So when you go out to speak, what type of groups or groups ask you to come out and speak, and what do they ask you to speak about?
It could be anything, literally. Because I always, when I go out and speak, I don't want people just to see my face as HIV. I love to tell my story, but I also like for people to know how I overcame it and, my strength in all of this as a single parent, as a black woman, just who I am as a person. So I could go to colleges, I can go to schools, I can go to youth groups, I can go to churches. Anywhere someone needs me, I'm there. And so I'm grateful for this platform because I don't have to just stick on HIV and AIDS awareness, but I can show people, HIV never defined Monique because Monique is also, I'm a woman of power, of dignity. I'm a warrior. And so I could talk about different topics surrounding my life. So it could be anywhere because I believe everyone needs the education, no matter who you are, what group you're in, what church you're from, if you go to church or not, what school, everyone, even our youth. Everyone, can learn from whatever I need to talk about. So I can be everywhere.
So let's move because that's a part of you. That's not who you are. Let's talk about single mom, Monique, because you mentioned that you are a single mom and your son that you were pregnant with. When you found out that you were HIV positive at 14, how many children do you have?
I have 5 teenagers altogether. I have 3 of my own biological boys. They're all teenagers. And then I was able to legally adopt 2 teen girls 2 years ago. So altogether it's 5 teenagers.
Boy. I thought I had it going on with 3 kids in the house, but you had 3, and then you took on two more.
2 more. Yes, ma'am.
So what does that look like when you're talking to your family, your young people that you're raising to grow? Because I believe we need to do a better job raising our children because they're not going to be children forever. To give them understanding, to prepare them for their experience, which is going to be different from each other, although you're raising them. What is the type of conversation that you have with them on a regular basis? It's a very open book here. We're open book. When it was just me and my boys, I had already told them my condition, so they all know I'm HIV positive. They're my advocates. I always tell everyone my children are like my next advocates. So they're the first partaker of education of HIV and AIDS awareness. Being a single mom, it's not easy, but it's worth it, and I'm thankful that I have the strength every day to be able to show them how to respect themselves, especially the girls, and even the boys, to show them how they need to go and respect other people, when they're in relationships, and to respect themselves and who they are. It's been a journey, and my mother and my father raised foster children and adopt kids when I was growing up. So that's what led me to also adopt the 2 girls when I was able to. So we're one happy family. The girls are even, one's Caucasian, one's biracial. So it's a diverse family, and I'm grateful for that because the girls can see, what love really means. And the boys can also see that me as a single mom, that I'm making it, and I'm not allowing anyone to stop me just because I am a single mom. It gets tough, and I realize that it's okay to ask for help. If you need help as a single parent, ask for it. It takes a village. Indeed, it does. So your movie, when it was released, I saw people that I know that were at your premiere in Charleston.
Mhm.
So let's talk about the movie because that's so interesting. The person that I know when the movie came out, she told me she went and I saw her picture and I saw a picture with you. And so, first of all, can we get this movie? Or where can we see it now? Or is it available still right now?
It's not available just yet. It's called the movie at the beginning of the interview. I think I'm mistaken, and the movie is called A Silver Lining, and I wrote it in 2018. It's a 35-minute film of pretty much my life and the criminalization part of it. Right now, the film is going to film tours. So we haven't released it to the public yet. So when I go out and speak, if they request for that film, we'll show it then. Other than that, it's not available yet to the public. However, I'm looking forward to when we're able to release it to everybody because right now it's going into a lot of film tours, film festivals. So that was my first film that I wrote. It was a nice premiere. It was really, really nice. I had a lot of support. There was not a dry eye in the building after everyone watched it. I wrote my second film called On the Other Side. That will be released by the end of the summer, hopefully. And because of the COVID-19 is the reason why we had to push those dates back. So I'm in the process of doing that one, and I'm just excited about writing and just, once again, sharing my story in a different way so that people can see that life don't stop and you shouldn't give up no matter what you're going through.
Definitely, I would agree with that. I'm really looking out for being able to see both of them because I just love where people, they don't just make it through. They don't just survive. They just thrive, and that's what you've done. You've changed something that could have that some people couldn't handle. Some people just couldn't handle it, and you turned it into educating others. You turned it into speaking. You turned it into you adopted 2 children, Lord knows, girls. Ugh, I had a girl. She's grown up. So, a girl, not one girl, but just 2. You made every step that you've taken that was for bad and it could have been detrimental to you. You've turned it into something positive, and that's just not something that people talk about a lot of, or people share the story a lot of. It's like it's non-existent, or it's just a freak accident that something like this happens.
A lot of people love to, throw it up under the rug. A lot of people won't talk about it, especially our churches and our homes in the Black community. It's like you don't say it, you don't talk about it. Don't let nobody know about it. But I chose, to allow my voice to be heard because I wanted to be that voice for people who are afraid to come and talk about it. They're afraid to share with their loved ones, that they're positive. So I live that life in front of everybody so they could see that HIV doesn't stop us. HIV doesn't hold us down. We can make it. We can have the best of the jobs. We can have the best of a life. And I live that way.
So how does Monique's life look today, right now, in this moment?
Right now, I'm enjoying my children, basically, because the kids been home. So that's my life. My life been home with, just kids all day. Because I travel and do a lot of the speaking because of the COVID-19, I'm able to be home. So this has given me a lot of time, intimate moments with the children. They're, getting to learn them even more, and they get to learn me a little bit more. You mentioned about the girls. Actually, I've never braided in my life besides a doll baby. And I actually braid my daughter's hair for the first time. this week, and I did pretty good. So it's just being that mom right now. That's what I'm doing at the moment, being the best mother, and finding interesting things to do around the house. So that's pretty much my now and what I'm doing, and writing and doing interviews, little things that I can do because a lot of things has been postponed.
Right. I'm so glad that you shared that you were enjoying being a mom during this time, because there are so many people who are overwhelmed with being in the house with their children, being in the house with their spouse. They are just ready to get back out here in the world, get
right.
back to a sense of normalcy. So right now, this is our normal living at this moment. It's going to change some as things open up. But this is, for me, it's definitely time this should be really time for us to be introspective of what we have going on, and don't rush off from moments with our kids, moments with our spouse, moments with our dreams, because this is a time to reignite those dreams that you had in the past, because you couldn't follow them through because you were so busy working.
Right. It just gives, and I think that's with everybody. Yes, I think it's with everyone. It gives us this time, everybody's frustrated, everybody's just ready to get back out to the real world. But the flip side of it, it gives us time for those who have been just so busy, caring about other people and, our jobs and everything that we're doing. This time gives us that time to spend with our families, whether we have children or not, maybe our loved ones or our spouses. This just gives us that moment to embrace them in the times that we did not get a chance to do that. Well, this is the time. It doesn't take money. You can just sit in the house, watch TV, or play a board game. I've done a lot of things since the kids have been home. We figured out, I made up games and stuff around the house. And we enjoy one another,
Yeah, this has definitely been a very good time for families in some cases, but other cases not so much. Does a person with HIV, do they have to handle themselves a little bit differently due to COVID?
With the COVID, everyone, of course, we have to use precautions still. There's a lot of people that are taking them back into a depression state because of the way how the media has COVID-19 and everything that's going on with COVID-19, so many deaths that people are dying from this, from corona. A lot of people who are HIV positive or have AIDS, it brings us a step back because we remember, or, the ones who had it in 1980s, when HIV and AIDS first happened, people were afraid of us. People, we were being stigmatized. A lot of lives were lost back then. So now with this COVID-19, it actually, the ones who have been living with it for 20 plus years, they think about that. But, oh my God, here we go again. I remember when I was first diagnosed with HIV back in the 1980s. So a person who is positive that, had it back then, they're actually going into depression state because of this COVID-19. Even myself, I had to really challenge my faith. I was like, wait a minute, God, you kept me for 14 and a half years, so I know you're going to keep me now in the midst of this COVID-19. So we have to use precaution. We still have to be careful. I still have my mask. I'm still just, maybe I'll go to the store and I'm back home. But we still have to use precaution. We still have to be so careful because of our immune systems. But it's definitely, a lot of us, it does put us back into a depression mode right now.
Come through faith reminding you God did it before. Yes. So.
Yep, that's why I say God did it before, and I know He can. I know He has me and everyone else covered, and it makes you think. You know, with the COVID-19, the media, if you watch TV long enough, you know, it really been putting a lot of us into that state of mind. Like, God, you know, our faith has been really tested through all of this, and it's, you know, will we stand in the midst of this COVID-19? Will we continue to stand and believe and trust in God through it all?
No doubt about that. So what does your next level look like for you? Because, I mean, you are a woman who does everything: braiding hair, speaking, writing, screenplays. What is next for you?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part of the question.
What is next for you?
What is next for me is I just want to keep going. Right now I've been doing more of the film writing, but I just want to continue to allow my voice to be heard wherever God, you know, leads me. You know, I believe that's what I'm supposed to do. I just want to continue advocating and continue just being that voice for many people, you know, that don't have that voice. I'm sorry, I cannot. It's some noise. I can't hear it.
At this point, I would say we talked about what the face of HIV looks like, but it seems like to me you are the voice of HIV.
Right.
So what does the voice of HIV, what does that sound like?
I believe the voice with HIV is a survivor, a person that is living with HIV and they're surviving. You know, that voice. They're allowing people, they're allowing society, they're allowing the world, they're allowing themselves to speak up and not be afraid. That voice is a person that they're living, they're thriving, they're making it through, and they're allowing that voice to speak over the negativity, over the ignorance, over the stupidity around HIV and AIDS. That voice is that same face that people are watching that is living with HIV.
What are the 3 takeaways that you would like the listeners to receive from our conversation today?
3 takeaways that I would love for the listeners to take away with is, first, love yourself. You got to love yourself. HIV, AIDS, it's not a death sentence. People are living longer and healthy lives. So it's love yourself. It's no longer a death sentence. And warrior. We're true warriors.
All right. So how can people invite you out? Well, whenever you can come outside. Are you available for virtual platforms for speaking? How can people reach out to you and follow and see what Monique is up to?
Yes, I am available for speaking. Contact me. My website is not up at the moment. They're in the process of putting it up in about a week, so they can actually go to that website. But my Facebook page is Monique Howell, just like my name, Monique Howell. That's my business Facebook page. They can contact me on there. I am with the agency. That agency will, provide them all the information they need to know as far as booking me. And they can also, I'm also on Instagram, Monique Howell 2020. And I also have a YouTube channel they can subscribe to, which is my name again, Monique Howell. The website, if they follow me on Facebook, we will have that website up, I'm pretty sure, in about a week, I was told. And they can, like I said, contact me. Well, not contact me. They can contact my representative on that website, and they will do all the booking and answering all the questions that they need. But they can follow me and watch all the things that I do all across this world.
Great. So, Monique, thank you for joining me with your dope self. You just do so many great things in the community for others, and because we were not put on the face of the earth for ourselves, you are doing a good thing and doing what God has actually called you to do.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to thank everyone for rocking with us this afternoon. Be safe. Cover your mouth when you cough and sneeze. The ultimate act of self-love is to stay in the house. If you don't have to go out, then don't. Enjoy yourself in the house. And if it's hot anywhere where you are, because it's 90 degrees here in Houston, stay in under that air.
Oh, wow.
And join me next Saturday on Next Level with Trenace. I love you. Be authentic, and see you next week. Goodbye.
Took me a while to get to this place. I'm so glad I'm in this phase.